On a limestone wall in southern France, above the shoulder of an enormous painted bull, there is a small cluster of dots. They are small, evenly spaced, and unmistakably deliberate. Somebody stood in that chamber and placed them there, roughly 17,000 years ago. One researcher has argued that this small arrangement is the oldest star map that human beings have ever found. Others have argued, just as seriously, that we are looking at a wall covered in marks and seeing exactly what we hope to find. Both cases deserve to be taken seriously, and the honest answer sits somewhere uncomfortable between them. The cave is Lascaux in the Dordogne region of France, and its walls hold some of the finest painting the ancient world produced. It was found in 1940 by 4 teenagers exploring a hole that had opened in the ground where a large pine tree had fallen years earlier. What they found beneath their feet had been sealed away, untouched and unseen, for something close to 17,000 years. The first great chamber is known as the Hall of the Bulls, and it is dominated by enormous painted aurochs, the wild cattle of Ice Age Europe. They are painted at extraordinary scale, some of them stretching across 5 meters of rock, following the natural contours of the cave. And above the shoulder of the largest of them sits that small cluster of dots, easy to walk past and easy to dismiss. In the 1990s, Dr. Michael Rappenglück of the University of Munich proposed that those dots represent the Pleiades, the star cluster we also call the Seven Sisters. He went further, arguing that additional dots within the bull's face correspond to Aldebaran and the Hyades, the other principal stars of that same patch of sky. Taken together, those stars form the constellation we know today as Taurus, which is to say, the bull, which leaves a genuinely unsettling coincidence sitting on that wall. A bull painted directly beneath the stars that we still, all these millennia later, call a bull. Rappenglück was not the first to notice it either. Other researchers had independently remarked on the same resemblance across the early 1990s. But the Hall of the Bulls is not where the argument becomes strangest. For that, you have to go deeper, into a narrow shaft below the main galleries. It is called the Shaft of the Dead Man, and it holds the most puzzling image in the entire cave. A human figure lies prone with a bird-like head. Beside him stands a wounded bison, and below him a bird perched on a slender stick. Rappenglück proposed that the eyes of those 3 figures, the bison, the birdman, and the bird, mark 3 specific stars: Vega, Deneb, and Altair, 3 of the brightest points in the northern sky, known together as the Summer Triangle. When the BBC reported the claim in August 2000, Rappenglück described what he believed the cave held: a map of the prehistoric cosmos. And there's one genuine astronomical detail that gives the whole idea considerably more weight than it might otherwise deserve. Our planet wobbles slowly on its axis, which means the sky above any given place changes gradually across thousands of years. 17,000 years ago, from that exact spot in France, those 3 stars would never have dropped below the horizon at all. They would have wheeled endlessly overhead, never setting, and would have been especially prominent at the beginning of spring. The broader case has other supporters too. The French researcher Chantal Jégué's Wolkiwiz spent 7 years surveying prehistoric sites across the region. She reported that of the 130 sites she examined, 122 showed solar alignments, many of them lit directly by the setting sun at the winter solstice. Rappenglück has also suggested that a dappled horse, accompanied by rows of dots and squares, may record the 29-day cycle of the moon. It is a compelling picture, And this is the point at which most retellings of this story stop. But the objections are serious, and they are not easily dismissed. The first is the most fundamental. Our constellation Taurus reaches us through Mesopotamia and then Greece, thousands of years after Lascaux was painted. There's no reason whatsoever to assume that people in Ice Age France grouped those particular stars together, or saw a bull in them, or drew constellations at all. The second objection concerns method, and it is sharper still. Why the eyes? Nothing about the painting singles the eyes out as significant. Choose any 3 points across any 3 animals on that wall, and you can almost certainly find some bright asterism they roughly match. And the third objection is the quietest and most damaging of all. Paleolithic cave art is absolutely covered in dots. They appear in clusters, rows and scatters across countless sites, and given enough dots and enough stars, matches become almost inevitable. What can be said with confidence is narrower, and in some ways more moving. These people live beneath skies darker and clearer than any we will ever see. That they watched it closely is entirely plausible. That they drew our constellations on a cave wall is a far larger claim, resting on far thinner evidence. The dots themselves are not in question. They are real, they are 17,000 years old, and somebody put them there on purpose. Whatever they meant died with the person who painted them, in a chamber that stayed sealed for the next 17,000 years. So when you look at those 6 dots, do you see stars? Or do you see us wanting to? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more journeys like this one.